When you look at a syllabus, it can feel, well, a little dry, right? Just a list of topics. But what if we thought about it differently? For BA 214, Business Taxation, that syllabus is really a roadmap, a map for a pretty epic journey. So today, we're going to follow that map and see why this journey is absolutely essential for anyone in business. Think about it. For any business out there, whether it's a tiny startup or a giant corporation, there's this one huge question they all face. How do you deal with the world of tax? It can feel like you're lost in a jungle, right? Full of confusing rules and hidden pitfalls. So how do you get through it? How do you not just survive, but actually come out on top?
Simple. You need a clear map, and that's exactly what BA 214 is. It's the guide, the GPS, whatever you want to call it, that's going to help you navigate that entire landscape with confidence.
Now, you wouldn't go on a big adventure without the right gear, would you? For this tax journey, your essential toolkit comes from two key places: business accounting and business finance. These aren't just requirements, they're the foundational skills you're going to build on every single step of the way. All right, so here's our itinerary for today. We'll start with The Quest Begins, then lay the foundation. After that, we're conquering income taxes, mastering business transactions, and even exploring some special taxes. And of course, we'll finish up with a final challenge. Okay, let's get started. Our tax quest officially begins right here as we step into the world of BA 214 and get a feel for what this course is all about. So, our first major stop on this journey is Unit 1. This is all about laying that solid foundation. You've got to start with the basics, right? Learning the fundamental rules of the game before you can play. And in this first part, you'll get the lay of the land. We're talking about the core principles of tax law. The actual rules found in what's called the Revenue Code. That's the big one. You'll also figure out how the whole Thai tax system is structured, what the different kinds of taxes are, and who's in charge of collecting them. So the goal here is pretty clear. By the time you're done with this unit, you'll speak the language of tax. You'll get the legal framework. But even more important, you'll really understand why taxation is such a huge part of life for any business. Okay, foundation's built. Now it's time to face the two heavy hitters of the tax world: personal income tax and corporate income tax. These are the big ones, for sure, and this course is going to break them down piece by piece. Let's start with personal income tax. It might sound complicated, but the course makes it super manageable by breaking it into just 4 steps. First, you figure out what counts as income. Then, you apply all the right allowances and deductions. After that, you calculate the final tax, and finally, you learn how to file the return correctly. See? Not so scary. So what's the big difference between the two? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. Personal tax is for, people, individuals. Corporate tax is for companies. And this is where that business accounting prerequisite really comes into play. You'll learn how to take a company's accounting profit and turn it into the taxable profit, which can be 2 very different numbers. All right, let's shift gears and talk about the taxes that are part of the day-to-day grind of a business. These are the ones that pop up with almost every single transaction, every sale, every purchase, every payment. And a huge skill you're going to walk away with here is knowing which tax to use and when. You'll get the hang of value-added tax, or VAT, which applies to most businesses, but you'll also learn about something called specific business tax, which is for certain industries that don't use VAT, like banking or real estate. This part of the course is really about the nitty-gritty, the operational side of things. You'll get into withholding tax, which is basically when you deduct tax right at the source when paying for things like services or rent. And then there's stamp duty, which is the tax you have to pay on important legal documents to make them official. Okay, now we're venturing into some more specialized areas. This last unit pushes beyond the daily stuff and looks at taxes that deal with goods crossing borders or taxes on very specific kinds of products. You'll be tackling 2 main things here. First up is customs tax. Think international trade, anything to do with importing and exporting goods. Then there's excise tax. This is a special tax that gets put on specific things, like cars, alcohol, or other luxury items. All right, so you've gone on this whole journey from the absolute basics all the way to these specialized taxes. So how is all that new knowledge measured? Let's take a look at the final challenge, the assessment. It's broken down into 3 main parts. You've got a collective score that comes from all your classwork and assignments. Then there's a midterm exam. And of course, a final exam. And when you look at how that's weighted, something really important jumps out. That classwork and assignments part, it's worth a massive 40% of your grade. That's the biggest chunk. It really goes to show you that just showing up and doing the work consistently is the real secret to doing well in this course.
So, when all is said and done, the destination of this whole journey is pretty clear. The goal is for you to walk away with real mastery over the hands-on operational side of tax compliance and a solid understanding of basically every kind of tax a business is going to run into.
You know, the whole world of business tax is run by a set of rules, a kind of code, the revenue code. After taking this course, you're not just going to understand that code. You'll actually be ready to use it, to apply it. So I guess the only question left is, are you ready to master the code?